Previously, Abel is amazed as Mash bursts into the final room, forcefully swinging the door open and directly confronting him. Entering Abel's chamber, Mash is greeted by a disturbing sight, and Abel acknowledges Mash's surprising abilities. Mash wonders how Abel knows about his capabilities, particularly in relation to Abyss's evil eye. Abel expresses his surprise, as he believed Rain was the only student capable of facing Abyss's evil eye. He finds it hard to believe that Mash, who is not a divine visionary like Rain, is a superior magic user. Abel also hints at a potential problem regarding Mash's secret, hoping it hasn't been discovered. However, Mash assures him that everything is fine and urges him to continue. Abel commends Mash, recognizing his capabilities and superiority. He believes that this reason alone should make Mash understand that the world treats everyone unequally. Mash remains silent while Abel reminds him of their beastly natures, something he had mentioned before. Abel states that he cannot tolerate inferior genes, as those with such genes take advantage of kindness and exert their rights. Seeking Mash's opinion, Abel finds his silence puzzling. Abel continues to persuade Mash to discard the weak, referring to them as useless baggage. Mash assumes that the weak are those without magic, based on his definition of weakness. Abel agrees, stating that they must dispose of those without magic. Hearing this, Mash is deeply shocked. Meanwhile, Lord Abel believes that merely segregating those without magic from society is too lenient. He intends to reform the system and extend it to the underachievers and those who support the weak. Mash can only think of one person in this scenario, his father. He recalls moments from his childhood when his father praised him for being good and honest and was amazed by his physical abilities. Mash reminisces about the time he ate a cream puff without being told and how his father scolded him but still remained proud of him. Back in the present, Mash reflects on these memories and straightforwardly tells Lord Abel that his ideology is problematic. Due to this disagreement, Mash doesn't think they can be friends. Abel feels offended by Mash's response, disappointed that Mash fails to comprehend his perspective, and calls him dense and an inferior gene. He believes that Mash should be eradicated. In response, Abel unleashes a group of puppets to attack Mash. Love arrives at the hall, feeling exhausted, and upon seeing the open doors to Abel's chamber, she peeks inside. Witnessing the intense fight between Abel and Mash, she hides herself, finding the sight terrifying and thinking she arrived at a bad time. As the dolls approach Mash, he punches one and notices a yellow substance oozing out of it. Mash skillfully dodges the acid, preventing it from touching him. Abel sarcastically warns Mash to be careful, revealing the doll's acid contents. To Love's surprise, Mash grabs the head of the punch doll and uses it as a bowling ball, eliminating the dolls without having to come into direct contact with them. This astonishing feat leaves Love speechless, her mouth wide open in amazement. Meanwhile, Mash brings up the topic of inferior genes that Abel mentioned earlier. He questions whether it means Abel has inferior genes if Mash defeats him. Abel finds this insulting and tells Mash to shut up. Ignoring the comment, Mash then asks Abel about Lemon's whereabouts. Abel seems clueless about who Lemon is, claiming that he only receives magic power from everyone, which confuses Mash. Mash expresses his frustration, stating that everyone is tired of Abel's actions. Ignoring Mash's concerns, Abel reminds him of the belief that the strong take from the weak. He then sends his large clown dolls to attack Mash, mocking him for being at the skill level he is. As the dolls approach, Love believes it's over, but she is surprised to witness Mash effortlessly destroy the dolls, realizing his growth since their last encounter. Mash then reminds Abel of his statement about taking from the weak and assuming it's their right. With this clarified, he demands that Abel tell him where Lemon is, showing his unwavering confidence in his victory. Abel becomes scared by Mash's confidence but tries to maintain his composure. Love, on the other hand, becomes frightened and considers returning home, but ultimately decides to stay and watch the fight unfold. Abel realizes that Mash may not be all talk, and Mash thanks him for finally realizing this. Abel takes control of Mash's body, manipulating him to deliver punches to himself. Despite Mash's struggle, Abel has placed imaginary strings on him, causing him to lose control. Mash ends up strangling himself as the fight becomes one-sided. Abel then stops the self-inflicted harm and reveals that he has turned Finn, Mash's friend, into a puppet. He had captured Finn earlier, believing he would make good entertainment. Abel explains that he spared Lemon since he was too injured to be of use. He directs the puppet Finn to fight Mash, hoping for an interesting show. Finn charges at Mash, and Mash blocks his attack. Abel instructs Mash not to fight back or attack, threatening to break Finn apart if Mash breaks the rules. Mash realizes Abel's pettiness and decides not to destroy his friend, even if it means enduring hits. Mash sacrifices himself, allowing Finn to land powerful punches and hits. Eventually, Finn strikes Mash forcefully with an axe, sending him flying. However, Mash lands firmly on the ground. Abel is shocked to see that the axe Finn used to hit Mash has been broken. Mocking Abel for thinking he is deep, Mash's words signal to Love that a confrontation is about to begin. This angers Abel, and he takes out a gold coin from his jacket, asking if Abel still wants it. Abel assumes that Mash has finally decided to give up. Meanwhile, Mash forcefully flips the coin, causing it to cut the threads controlling Finn. This restores Finn to his human self. Playfully apologizing, Mash mentions that the coin seems to like him more. Tired of Mash's games, Abel decides to put an end to this once and for all. He attempts to control Mash by stringing him up, confident that humans cannot resist his magic. Abel refers to Mash as just another puppet. However, Mash is determined to make Abel regret lashing out at his friends. He struggles against the strings, breaking Abel's fingers in the process. Without wasting much time, Mash charges at Abel and delivers a powerful kick to his face. While in midair, Abel is forced to use an unplanned spell that transforms Mash into a doll. In turn, Mash transforms Abel into a doll. Impressed by Mash's ability to make him cast this spell, Abel believes that the weak, like Mash, should be the prey in a survival of the fittest situation. With Mash fully transformed into a doll, Abel approaches him and searches his jacket for the gold coin he had kept there. Surprisingly, he doesn't find the gold coin but discovers the cream puff that Mash had stored earlier. Immediately after finding the cream puff, Mash punches Abel and grabs his precious treat. He wonders how the cream puff ended up in Abel's jacket. After being punched, Abel is left wondering how Mash was able to free himself despite being fully transformed into a puppet. According to Abel, his puppet magic should have blocked any voluntary physical movement due to the brain's electric signals. The only reasonable explanation Abel can find is a spinal reflex. It seems that Mash unconsciously reacted to the cream puff being taken from him. Love and Abel are equally surprised by this, as Abel's previous spell fails to work. Abel decides to extract magic power from his dolls and use it to initiate what he considers the ultimate spell. With this spell, he creates a powerful puppet that can turn anyone within a 100-meter radius into a puppet. The transformation occurs when a person is touched by the invincible strings released by Abel. The strings rain down on the ground, making it difficult for Mash to avoid them. This gives Abel the confidence that he has finally defeated Mash. However, Abel is surprised to see that the hands of his harmful puppet have been pulled off. Upon closer inspection, he realizes that Mash was the one who pulled off the puppet's hands. Love, who witnessed this, shares her shock at seeing Mash balance his body in anticipation of the strings. This allowed him to sense the impact of the strings on his body and grab hold of them, pulling them out. Afterward, Mash punches the harmful puppet in the face. When Abel realizes that he has been defeated, he is reminded of his mother's story and how she was killed by the very people she always helped. Mash, recognizing that Abel's actions stemmed from his love for his mother, doesn't view him as a bad person. Mash decides to spare Abel but insists that he releases Lemon, as they had agreed upon. Due to Mash's victory, Abel decides to not only release Lemon but also every other student he had turned into dolls. Lemon is set free, and upon seeing her, Finn becomes extremely excited. The three of them rejoice and celebrate, much to Abel's disdain. However, they soon realize that Lance is missing. Meanwhile, Lance is preoccupied with tracking down a dangerous individual who has taken on the form of a student. When he confronts her, he realizes that she is a member of Innocent Zero, a dark magic organization operating in the shadows. She reveals that they sent Abel to find someone, and since he failed, they plan to kill him. However, when Lance tries to inquire about their target, she refuses to provide any information. As he attempts to stop her, Rain encounters a serial killer and cannibal named Jean-Pierre, who possesses powers similar to those of a divine visionary. This brings an end to our episode. If you enjoy it, then don't forget to subscribe our channel, Annie Explainer.